And we're live.
Great, thank you. Hi everybody, welcome to the first cooking video for the Legacy series for the Pocahontas Chamber of Commerce. I'm really excited to be doing this. Thank you to Parker, first of all, for thinking of doing this, the Legacy series in general, but also inviting me to be a part of it. I'm really excited, and I've just been encouraged throughout the process and in collaborating with Parker in the Chamber of Commerce, but also his connection to the community in Woods. Thank you to their staff. I know you guys have looked at the recipes that I'm going to be demoing and are going to have the ingredients available. So I think that's exciting. And then I also spoke to Erin at the newspaper today, and she's going to be doing a story on the Legacy series. I'm just really encouraged by your community and the collaboration and the way that you encourage and support each other. So thank you for having me for this Legacy series. A little bit of information beforehand. So we're doing a cooking demonstration every Wednesday in September. And it's going to be live like this, but it'll also be recorded and be available on the Facebook page afterwards and the Chamber of Commerce YouTube channel. So if you can't catch it live, you can watch it, or you can watch it multiple times if you see it now and want to see it again. That being said, Avery, my husband, is the cameraman, and you might have seen his thumb at the beginning. That's a tradition of ours, but he might also chime in throughout the video. So if you hear him, he's kind of my sous chef. He's eaten a lot of my recipes, and he has some good insights that sometimes I forget. So if you hear him, that's what it is. He might also make a debut next week when we demo our breakfast, because he is sort of the champion of breakfast making in our household. So you can look forward to that. Okay, I should share a little bit about myself. So my name's Lauren. I don't know if I mentioned that. I'm Lauren Johnson, and I'm a Food for Life instructor with the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. I'm also a certified plant-based professional chef through Ruby Online Culinary School, and I have a plant-based nutrition certificate through T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies. Now, my background a little bit, because I think that's important when you're watching a video or getting resources from somebody. You want to know what their story is, and really where they came from. So for me, in regards to food specifically, I grew up with a pretty poor self-esteem and really negative body image. And so I realized that food was a trigger for me in that way. I was addicted to sugar, and I ate junk food a lot. And so I came to college and I studied public health, and I sort of recognized the impact of nutrition on my own personal health. And then Avery and I actually joined a CSA, which is Community Supported Agriculture, when we were in college. And that means you buy a share of a local farmer's produce. You get a box or bags of produce each week. And when we did that, we got things that I had never even heard of before. Things like fennel, leeks, what else did we get? Do you remember, Avery? Pumpkin? I had never seen a real pumpkin. I'd seen pumpkin, but I'd never cooked with it before. Remember anything else?
Lots of different types of squashes.
Yeah, and I never even grew up eating squash. Long story short, we got those things, and I am a firm believer in not wasting food. So I had to learn to cook with it, and at that point, I had truly just not learned to cook. So that paired with my first time experience gardening was when I was 20 years old with my Aunt Rhonda in Carroll, back home where I'm from, so I'm actually fairly close to Pocahontas. But we grew a garden, and again, I had to learn how to cook those things. So my journey to plant-based nutrition then is where my personal experience came from. Struggling with food, I recognized that food it's nourishment and it's medicine to us, right? Like, food was designed to be consumed. So when I think about food, I think, okay, I want to get the most sort of bang for my buck in terms of like nutrients and fiber and things like that, right? My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer last year, and I've always been a little bit heavier than I would like, and my grandparents passed away from Alzheimer's and dementia. My grandpa had heart disease and things like that, right? So I'm concerned with my personal health, and I know that's not the case for everybody, but I want you to know that that's where I come from, and that's where you'll hear me talk about nutrition and things like that throughout the video. So that's my background, and I wanted you to know that before, as you follow along. So, did I miss anything, Avery? I wanted to be sure I kind of had a good introduction before I jumped into these cooking demos. So, what you probably came for is the first recipe, which is sort of a teaser recipe. It's not the breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert plan like I have for the next coming weeks, but I wanted to do an edible cookie dough. That's one thing in our house. We have a sweet tooth a lot, and typically we like to have like fruit-based desserts, but this is one of those really special treats that we like to make, and I wanted to show you. So, the ingredients you will need, well, let me back up. Let me talk about the not appliances, what would you call these things?
Tools of the trade.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. So you need a bowl. You need, I would say, so this is sort of the old school way. You could use a food processor or a blender, and I have those things and I would use them, but I know it requires a little bit more cleanup, and I just wanted to do it old school like this because it's quick and easy. So a bowl, and then either a fork or a potato masher, and then a spatula and some measuring spoons, okay? So the ingredients are chickpeas. Now I'll just talk about this as I walk through the recipe.
Also known as garbanzo beans.
Oh yeah, garbanzo beans.
Chickpeas, same thing.
Yep. So you can buy them in a can. We actually buy them in bulk and I make them myself in my Instant Pot. Now if that's something you want to learn, please reach out and let me know. I'd be happy to show you how I do that or do a demo for you regarding that. But 1 can of chickpeas, after you've drained and rinsed them if there's a lot of sodium. Typically when they're packed like that in cans, they have a lot of sodium. So good practice to begin to rinse them. But we need 1.5 cups. That's what 1 can's worth is. So that's what I'm measuring out of here, okay? Is 1.5 cups of chickpeas. And that's what we'll add. So if I was using a food processor now, it would be really easy for me to just turn it on, whir it around, and it would mash right up. But I'm gonna use a potato masher because it's a little bit of a workout, and it's kind of just fun to get your hands in there. Now I know people are often skeptical of like, beans being the base of a dessert, right? Like that's odd. But again, my idea of nutrition is like I want to get as much as I can in it, and so they're filled with protein and fiber and iron and just really good nutrients for our body.
They're pretty taste neutral as well, so you can flavor them however you want, and so they really work well for dessert. I actually had a coworker who introduced a recipe called cookie dough bites, and it was based out of chickpeas.
It's a lot like this recipe. Just
very similar, just a little bit different. And my coworker said that she was going to try it, but her husband was super skeptical. He wasn't going to do it. He's like, that sounds terrible. He tried one and he got addicted. He would eat like 10 or 12 a day when she wasn't looking, and she had to stop making them because he just kept eating them because they were so good.
And so 4 times before
4 different times, yeah. So they were really popular, and making an edible cookie dough with these is really simple, really quick, really easy, and worth the time and investment.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's a good example. Okay, so I think I've mashed long enough. Now you can you see this very well, Avery? Feel free to move if you can, but I mean, you know what mashed beans would look like, right? Sorry, I'm gonna get these off a little bit. Okay, so we have our chickpeas. Then I'm gonna do some oats. Now, if you were using a food processor, the oats would break down a little bit more, but I actually like the texture in here, kind of like an oatmeal cookie recipe. So if you're not familiar with oats, I know there's a few different kinds. I'm using old-fashioned, also known as rolled oats. So Quaker Oats is a brand that you might be familiar with. I'm not sure what Woods carries, but I do know they have old-fashioned oats, so feel free to look for those. Now, I'm also going to use peanut butter. So this is about 1/2 cup of peanut butter. Now, the thing about peanut butter is there are a lot of peanut butter brands out there that have oils in them. And that's something that it's a very refined ingredient, right? Oils are very processed, is what I mean by that. So this is the peanut butter we use. Smucker's is the brand, and it just contains peanuts and a little bit of salt. So this is the brand that I like because it's whole food ingredients, right?
It's clean.
Clean, exactly. Good way of saying that. So peanut butter. Next is going to be maple syrup. Again, that idea of like whole food ingredients. Maple syrups also come, and their first ingredients like high fructose corn syrup, right? And that's, again, more processed and refined than other things. So this pure maple syrup is just syrup from a maple tree, right? It's not some of those other things and added colors and whatnot. So that's what I'm using, about 1/2 cup of that. Then vanilla. Now I should mention peanut butter. If you are allergic to peanut butter or you don't like it, you can use a different nut butter. So say you're allergic to peanuts, you can use sunflower seed butter, or if you want a more neutral taste, you could use almond butter. So I'm thinking, like, we're gonna do sort of a classic cookie dough, right? What you would imagine, like chocolate chips and peanut butter, but you could do berries, you could do coconut. What are some other things?
Banana?
Banana? Yeah, yeah, you could probably do banana. That would be good. So just get creative. If this recipe you're like, I don't know, I don't think I like that very much, feel free to substitute other ingredients. That would be totally fine. The chickpeas are really the base of it, right? And then from there, you can substitute as you wish. So I'm just mixing this up. And then I am going to add chocolate chips. Now, one thing what I realized too is as I make this, it's pretty soft at first, okay? So if you let it sit, actually, for example, I made some earlier today. Now, we didn't have very much left. We ate quite a bit of it, but I let it sit in the refrigerator and it got really firm. What I actually think would be really fun is if you took a cookie scoop and you had like little dough balls, or if you put it in something like nice cream. So we make nice cream in our house, which is frozen bananas, and we mix it with like plant milk, almond milk, or soy milk or something. Sometimes vanilla, sometimes peanut butter or chocolate. And this, I think, cookie dough would be really good in nice cream. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that the texture of this, I might grab it with my hand shortly, is a little bit different than, say, the texture of this right now, right? Once you refrigerate it, it thickens up. Also, if you feel free to improvise a little bit, right? So if this is too runny or if it's not sweet enough, add some oats or add some more maple syrup, right? Change it to your liking. That's one thing I know. I'm a recipe follower and I'm a rule follower, so I don't like to improvise, but I want to encourage you to do that as you watch these recipes. So the next thing then is chocolate chips. Now we use dairy-free chocolate chips, but if you don't have those, you don't have access to them, I'm going to show you a brand that we use, is Enjoy Life. You can look for dark chocolate chips of any brand, but if you're either allergic to milk or looking to avoid it, read the ingredient list. This just has unsweetened chocolate and cane sugar. So that's what we like to use. I have a little mini version here that I'm going to use in our cookie dough recipe. So let's see, I'm going to do probably about 1/4 cup. And I will share this recipe in the post after I'm finished, and then also it'll be on the link in the YouTube page. So I suppose if you're watching via YouTube, it's recorded, so it'll be there already. But add your chocolate chips and give it a good stir. And now I love this because it's edible right away. Now, if you had canned chickpeas, they might not be as cold, or if your peanut butter was at room temperature, it might not be as cold. So again, think about refrigerating it, but there's no eggs, and there's no flour, so it is perfectly edible right away. So I think that's all I have. I think that is our cookie dough recipe. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. This is what the cookie dough looks like right now. And again, if you refrigerate it, it gets to be this like very firm ball of cookie dough, right? Well, we'll probably enjoy this right after the video turns off because it is healthy and delicious and just a really good treat. So if you have kids, feel free to try it for them or just make a batch for yourself. It's really delicious. Okay, I hope you'll join next week. We're going to be demonstrating our breakfast recipes. Probably, because it's breakfast, it'll probably be around 9 a.m. But again, it'll be recorded, so if you miss it, you can watch it at any time. So thanks to those of you for tuning in, and for those who are watching afterwards. I hope you'll try it and enjoy. Bye.